You're listening to the UTalk Hockey Podcast with your hosts Champ and Denz.
What is up, UTalk Hockey Nation?
What up?
We have another episode for you today. We're always filming this
Whenever
late at
you're
night.
listening.
Whenever you're listening. Before we get started, Champ here needs to talk about his NHL level skill set.
Oh, I wouldn't say that.
At our hockey game this week.
So Denz wasn't there. He was in Disneyland, this guy. Magical
Power
place.
of moments. We decided last
Power
minute.
moments.
48 hours later, we were there.
It's crazy. Awesome. Love
You got to
that.
be spontaneous in life sometimes, and it was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Speaking of spontaneous, playing hockey, the other night we're playing the Gladiators, Rookie League in Provo at Peaks Ice Arena. The score's 0-0. I'm sitting on the bench, and I turn to Tanner, one of our players, and I say, dude, we just got to score. He's like, yeah, we just got to get one, and that's when the momentum shifts. So he and I are out on the ice, and the puck goes to the wall, thinking that the opponent's going to launch it out of the zone, our offensive zone, but instead decides to go send it on the wall behind the net because our player, Tanner, got in the way, put the stick down, and it caused the puck to launch up over a stick and slow way down, and instead of sliding, it was doing the old knuckle puck, you know, in Mighty Ducks, where it was just kind of rolling on its side. Well, I stick my butt on the back wall right behind the goal, and the goalie has his arm around the net, but his shoulder's kind of hanging out. So as the puck's rolling on its side, I have the chance to just get this nice slap shot. And instead of looking to pass or grab the puck and move, I say, you know what? I'm going to hit it at the goalie and see if it'll go in. I launch that thing, and there's about 3-4 inches of space between his shoulder and the goal post. Knock it in, and then I go to see where it's at, and I find out that it's in the back of the net. I launched it off the back of the goalie. Got it in, dude. It was epic.
Backboard.
Best shot I've ever made in my hockey career. And it's been a short career, but it was the best shot I've ever got.
Oh, when that happens in an NHL game, you kind of think of the player. You're like, you sleazy son of a...
And, you know, I screamed at the top of my lungs. I was hooting and hollering. And, the whole team was... The other team was not happy.
You know, you see it more and more in an NHL game, just trying to get more clever. These goalies in the league are the Great Walls of China. Nothing gets past them. So you got to get creative. And
dude, and it was nuts, though. I was like, I'm going to try this shot. You know, I'm a rookie. I'm no good. I'm good enough, though. And I launched it off his back, and it just went in. So
when
a little
you're
bit of
behind
luck,
the net,
a little bit of skill.
Yeah, probably more so luck than
definitely more so luck. 100%.
Anyways, but pretty cool shot. Let's dive in.
We got a lot to talk about.
Post. We have so much that has happened in the last week since we've recorded last, and let's dive into the first one. The NHL.
Well, we got to do our intro.
Oh, you're gonna add to it? All right.
No.
Here's off the post. Doop, 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 doop.
Off the post.
Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yippee, hi-yay.
Doop, 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 doop.
Oh, no. Okay, well, let's do it.
So, first off the post item.
It's news that...
It's news.
Yeah.
The NHL accidentally, maybe, leaked the temporary or first inaugural season logo of the Utah Hockey Club. And how are we feeling about this logo?
Here's the thing. I like that we have a little bit of identity now.
I asked for it last episode.
You did.
I just want merch, something.
We all want merch. But it does feel a little bland, a little
Like
blah to me.
Soccer club-ish.
And that's when Utah HC was a thing, right? Like in the sense of like the list and voting.
Yeah.
I think people were picking it, honestly, because they didn't like anything else. They didn't like the other ones. Like the Utah Powder. No, but if anybody voted for that, I swear. But it's off the list now.
We'll get to that.
But the logo itself, it feels okay. And there were some other logos that I liked as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it came a lot sooner than was expected, and that's why it's considered leaked. Because it was the NHL that put it on the player's profile card, and it was along with the NHL asset files.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What do you think? What do you like it?
My first thought was it looked like, my North Carolina basketball team.
Tar Heels.
And I like the Tar Heels.
He's from the Carolinas.
Well,
Sorry,
my wife's family is.
His in-laws are.
I've grown to like them. So at first I was just like, oh, this is Carolina blue.
It really does have that feel.
But I think I was just excited to finally have something. My favorite logo. So the trademark office had 8 applications.
It was
of,
8. I only saw 4.
Like
actual
logo
photos?
variances.
Yeah.
So my favorite is obviously the state outline of Utah.
I did like that one.
And I hope that's maybe they're all going to be used in some way, shape, or form. I think that's the point. Variations of the logo. So, I'm not in love with the baby Carolina blue. Is what I'll call it.
It's not quite baby, though. It's not like
it's
baby
not quite.
blue.
But at the end of the day, I just love having an identity. And it's kind of one of those things when you name your kid, after time goes by, you're just like, it can't be anything else.
Couldn't have been anything else.
So, in the end, I'm like totally open to, obviously this is temporary, so I don't feel like we need to get married to it. But I can get married to the fact that, hey, it's the inaugural season logo. It's going to be the inaugural season brand. And, in 15 years when it's all of a sudden a retro jersey time, they might come back to this at some point. So it's an identity. It's cool. I don't have to actually love it personally. If I was choosing logos and colors, it doesn't matter. The idea is, as a hockey fan, I'm going to embrace it. I'm excited to finally have something coming out. So
let me ask you this question, though. It says the Utah Hockey Club right now. That's the logo. This is what year 1's going to be. What happens if that becomes year 2, year 3, year 4, and we end up being the Utah Hockey Club? On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about that? 10 being the best, obviously.
I would lean maybe to like a 4.
I think most people would.
But again, I think the identity is going to become what the team does, right? Mm. Right now, we don't have a team playing. We don't have, yes, we have players, but no one's playing underneath that brand yet. We have a massive amount of cap space that's going to be used. Who's going to come in and help put an identity behind the team name, right? So I don't know. I guess I'm not very controversial in the sense I am pretty open-minded to whatever it becomes will be the identity of the performance of this future team, and that's what I'm hoping in the end, becoming one of the best teams in the league. I think naturally a lot of people will just be drawn to this logo if it stayed for years to come as a winning team.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So
like that.
If you have, let's say your favorite colors like red and purple together and it clashes in my mind and that would be ugly. But at the end of the day, I think my appetite for the colors would change based off of the performance, the brand image, the community that gets surrounded. Experiences all intertwine into this identity. So do we go to games and we just have the most incredible crowd in the arena and unifying brand of youth getting involved in hockey, and all of a sudden experiences, life, events starts getting attached to colors and a brand. And I think that's eventually what defines the love for a logo. So my first initial reaction was but in the end it could be, I'm open to the fact and knowing that that's how our emotions work. That's how life works. So who knows? Maybe it becomes such an iconic image and brand and logo. I'll tell you what, it would if they became a Stanley Cup championship team next
I
year.
love the idea of it being like, oh yeah, let's put our retro Utah Hockey Club jerseys back on.
Right.
You know?
And it's just like, if that were to happen, maybe chances are a little low. But let's say something crazy happened. All of a sudden, this brand was a Stanley Cup championship team. And so now there's the emotion of that would go into like, no, that is the look and feel of the championship team. It's like BYU Cougars, right? When they won, their colors today, I think, are much cooler.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they haven't won in that brand and image. and so, when you go back to like the light blue, and it's like retro at a BYU game, like, hey, maybe they're going to win because those were the colors that took them to the national championship.
Yeah, right.
Right? So that's the kind of logic I'm thinking of.
Nice. I like that a lot.
That was long-winded.
But
dude, there you go.
Take it how you need to, right? Well, let's talk about. It would make more sense if we actually highlight the next piece of news, which is actually the names.
Yeah.
Since we're talking logo, we were going to talk ticket pricing and everything. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the actual list that came out, the final 6. Then there were 6, right?
Yeah.
For the actual logo names, not the tickets, but the names themselves. Yeah. So the 6 that were on there are Yeti, Mammoth, Outlaws, Venom, Blizzard,
and Utah Hockey
Utah
Club.
HC, Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah.
First of all, maybe Utah Hockey Club just has to be on there because they've already done it.
Right. And if all the fans voted for it to stay.
Well, what is crazy about the voting and what brought it back, I have the number here. It's right here. So more than 520,000 voters participated in the first round of voting for NHL Utah's team name, and 6 names, the 6 we just mentioned, 6 names accounted for 60% of the total vote. And those 6 names are now included in the second voting pool, which is open until June 20th.
Yeah.
So, Utah, you have a job to do. You get to pick one name. What name are you going to pick?
I mean, it's obvious, Mammoth. But moving on.
That's right.
But here's interesting about that stat. So you have 40%, if they choose to vote, 40% that now have to pick one of those 6, which gets to the point of the initial numbers and voting and the top could get skewed because now what do the 40% of respondents that didn't choose those have to say? What are they all going to come in and say, hey, Utah HC, and then all of a sudden that becomes the number 1?
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know about that.
So it's interesting. So obviously, if you want your voice heard, go vote Mammoth by June 20th.
Absolutely. Here's a question for you. We obviously like Mammoth the most out of all 6 of the names. What's your number 2?
I think I'm actually leaning towards Outlaws.
Same.
But here's the reason why. It's because I've seen enough being developed and stories and imaging, and it's not the name in and of itself. At first, I was like, Utah Outlaws. One, that's another team in our league. But like an identity starts forming around experiences, what it could be. There's things online. Hey, the Golden Knights have the whole sword fight. The Knights in between. We could have a total duel.
Yeah, shootout.
On the ice with 2 gunmen. Like those kinds of things start developing and creating a fan experience, which would make me love the entertainment. So I think Outlaws is my second runner-up. Dude, can you imagine? I mean, Utah loves its country.
I've gone country.
If you don't agree with me, look at who we've all picked for Stadium of Fire in our history.
Yeah, it's mostly country folk.
So we have a lot of country fans. So I have a cowboy hat.
He does. He actually has a few.
I would show up as an outlaw to a game.
Same.
Put on that cowboy hat.
Same.
There
was somebody online though that said, "It can't be Outlaws. That offends me." He's already trying to cancel the name.
Oh my goodness.
That has been selected. But that's the 6. So go vote. Voting ends June 20th. Again, we've said it once. I'll say it again. I'm pretty sure it's already said. I think Ryan Smith already has it. He's just letting people vote.
Yeah. But hopefully Ryan Smith was actually listening to the podcast where I drop what Yetis look like in a lot of people's minds, which is kiddish, cartoonish.
Yeah, go watch the last episode. The image that he dropped when he was editing the video is pretty funny.
Yeah. Anyways.
Oh, yeah.
In the end, to the same thing with the Utah Hockey Club, a brand identity gets established behind the experiences and what comes after. And we as future fans, current fans and future fans of whatever it's going to be, need to come together and embrace it. Let's all keep an open mind. And once it's decided, we're all going to rally the troops and say, hey, this is our team. Let's make sure there's support there to keep the team here thriving. Well, we'll get into that later, what it takes to keep a team there. But yeah, I think it's just possibly the whole idea of the inconsistencies real quick of like, hey, it's going to go to a bracket, but we haven't gone to a bracket. It's just been next phase of voting. Right. We'll choose 8, but now we're down to 6, but we haven't gone to a bracket yet.
Here's the thing. There's fake news out there. You don't know what to believe anymore.
That was out of Ryan Smith's mouth.
Yeah, well, Ryan Smith also sometimes looked like he's lacking sleep and wants something else.
But he also said, we have our 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden comes out as 6.
Which, again, I feel like Utah Hockey Club was just on the list to say, hey, by the way, people who voted Utah Hockey Club, this is what's happening first.
At least for year 1.
For year 1, so you got your name. I can't imagine that would be the name moving forward after the year 1.
Yeah.
I just can't.
Name's still up in the air, folks. We know that's going to be that for a while, but we're on to the next round, phase 2. It's like each layer of the Stanley Cup playoffs. We're down to the Oilers and our Panthers. Who are you picking? I think I'm going to...
Did you say our Panthers?
I don't know what I just said.
I am not affiliated with the Panthers at all.
The Panthers and the Oilers.
Got you.
Being the final... championship hockey is just fun to watch.
Oh, dude, hockey in general is fun to watch.
Yep.
Junior hockey, go watch Rookie League in Peaks Ice Arena. That's pretty fun to watch.
Yeah.
I mean, the way I scored that goal was pretty fun.
I mean, maybe.
Well, I thought it was pretty cool.
Anyways, next up is the ridiculous ticket pricing. Season tickets.
It's ridiculous, but it's not.
It's not.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. Anyone who's doing their research knows that like Vegas is much more expensive. There's many other hockey clubs that are much more expensive. But season ticket pricing has come out. We've all been waiting for progress and news. This is progress and news, right? I got an email actually today for my time slot. I had signed up for my 4 deposits like literally within 10 minutes of the site going live. And yeah, I'm like pushed out till Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. of next week.
Well, sales capacity. You gotta have sales people that can do the job.
So anyways, we'll see what's left. Maybe next episode we'll give insight into what that is. But what is the most expensive ticket?
Here's something crazy, y'all. The most expensive ticket is $37,000. Not ticket, sorry, season tickets.
Yeah,
$37,380, and that's row 1
off the glass,
center ice off the glass. Whew! Wouldn't that be nuts? It's nearly $900 a ticket.
$37,000, one person.
One person. That's one. That's one
ticket.
Season ticket on the front row, center ice.
Yep.
Pretty dope, though. So if you got a lot of money, of course you're going to do that if you like hockey.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah. And everyone's worried, Ryan Smith won't get his money back. Well, yeah, he might. Right?
Literally.
He just might.
So we have 10,000 unobstructed view seats that are going for sale. Do they all go to season ticket?
Everyone's wondering about that. There were so many. I mean, how many people actually deposited?
It's 34,000, 35,000.
34,000. And actually, those who live in Utah get first dibs.
Yep.
It has been stated that is the case. That's why Den's here 15 minutes into it releasing. He gets a chance next Wednesday to book his amount. Imagine going through, the first probably 15, 20,000 people before maybe the other 10 are not in Utah.
Well, they said within the first few hours, there were 5,000 deposits. So I was in the first 15 minutes. So I'm hopefully towards the front batch of that.
Yeah,
but if I'm
yeah.
until Wednesday, we got a lot that we have to get through. Listen, when you have 3 times as many total available seats, do they sell out the entire season of the unobstructed capacity with season tickets? I mean, that's a big, that would be huge, but like even the Utah Jazz, with them not being as good as they are, have sold out 240 some odd games in a row, or I don't know the exact stat, but like Utah shows up for their teams.
They do, but I'd argue this. Check this out. The Utah Jazz used to win. They've
Yes.
never won an NBA title,
Yeah.
but they were good. John Stockton, Karl Malone, AK-47, those guys.
Right.
They were winning. Now, the Arizona Coyotes, now the Utah Hockey Club, does not have a history of winning. People are concerned that with the style and capability of this team, they won't sell tickets as well, especially with a move relocated from the situation they were currently in with the talent they currently have. This isn't a winning franchise. This
Right.
is just a franchise.
It's true.
So, yes, Utah shows up, but I am concerned that when you have an arena like the Delta Center, where many fans are just pissed, quite frankly, that there's these obstructed views and that, they didn't really think about this, that it's going to literally be a Mullet Arena 2.0 experience.
Interesting take.
Interesting take, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm on the fence about that. I am worried that Utah will not show up as much as it starts getting closer and I see these prices.
Yeah. That's a lot of money on the line right here
Now,
that people have to invest
there
to show up.
Right. And there's these obstructed views. Would you pay $19 to have an obstructed view to go to a hockey game?
Depends on the game.
See? Even you. You said depends because you want a good seat.
Well, I just meant like if it was like the San Jose Sharks coming to show up, like,
dude, throwing shade at the Sharks, nice.
hopefully they get better this season. But you know what I mean? Now, would I want to go see Pittsburgh Penguins and, the idea of seeing my Golden Knights, even with an obstructed view, just to be there, to be in the crowd, like, hands down, I totally would.
Especially for
I would love to.
$19.
Starting at $19, yeah. I would love to be there. So, I mean, here's the thing, and you see this during the playoffs. A very different scenario being in the playoffs. I get it. They're a playoff team capable, so that's why the crowd shows up. But when it's an away game, the arena usually still sells out its seats to come watch on the monitors.
Yeah.
For the sake of being there and supporting and the energy and like, so again, I understand that as a playoff game, it's very different. There's a lot at stake there and there's a lot of hype. But they're watching it on a monitor. They could do that at home. And so fans still show up to have the community and stuff. So I think 35,000 season ticket deposits in the community just kind of showed the team, Ryan Smith, that, hey, there's desirability here.
Excitement here. Yeah. I'm with you, dude. I'm going to go to these games. Right?
Yeah.
But with with the open house that they did, right? They said, did you get an email, by the way, that said you can go to an open house from the 4th through the 6th?
Yeah.
So people were getting this invite through the 4th through the 6th. You can come see. They actually said don't take any photos, and a ton of people were taking photos. Naughty. But there were several people who took photos from certain seats, and they were decent, but there were definitely some obstructions. And by just pushing those photos out to social, so many people started saying, well, I'm not going to support this team. I'm not going to go to this game. And at the end of the day, if you like hockey, you're going to go to the game, right? Especially if it's now a team that you can root for and cheer for. But this is a challenge. I mean, the other thing that recently happened, actually, while we were preparing to record for this, someone posted that as they've been they were on the priority list and they were looking at getting tickets within the time frame that they had. Like Denz has a 2-hour window to choose tickets, right? This gentleman said that within that 2-hour time frame of him looking at pricing, they started to increase live as he was sitting on the site looking at the prices. So they're raising prices on people as they're looking at it in the moment. And that's a little rough.
Yeah.
And, we like to give, the benefit of the doubt to this type of process because it takes a lot. Someone has to be running this show, and there's several people that are involved. But that will deter people if you start seeing prices changing in the moment.
Right. If you come in and you budget something and then all of a sudden it's $500 more a ticket.
10 minutes later.
Yeah, that's frustrating. I'm curious why they would do that outside of the fact that something's going on with demand or people are willing to pay more.
Yeah.
To get a better seat, which is crazy for a team that no one's watched yet.
See, and that yeah, exactly, right?
So
these prices that have come out, even the prices changing, like it's hard to fathom paying this much for a team that we still we know what they were in
Sure.
Arizona.
Yeah.
They're going to be different here, but even as we were talking about, if we bought some tickets, we'd maybe give some away, but then if we wanted to sell them, could we resell them at a higher price? We don't know. We don't know, right?
Yeah.
Because we haven't seen this team in action in Utah yet.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people are going to be hesitant to pay this amount. There will be people who will pay it, right?
There's a lot of money in Utah. A lot of good, strong economic growth. People can afford things.
Tech, yeah.
Even if, I don't know. It's so up in the air. It's kind of crazy. I am really interested to kind of get an insider's look that I will share, unless they tell me I'm absolutely not allowed to. But I will share what I see, being the fact that I'm in the earlier stage of the lineup of when I went to go look at things, half of the stadium was already sold out. That would be crazy.
That would be nuts.
So we'll see. Next episode or two, we'll hopefully have more insight into season ticket pricing. But at the end of the day, it gives a lot of confidence that there's such demand. Here's the thing: when you have the ability and capacity to make that much revenue,
oh yeah,
you have the ability to invest more in the team. So if the demand is there and there's revenue to be made right away, it's not as big of a gamble, maybe if it's a question mark, that Ryan Smith and the team, Smith Entertainment Group, has to make. Maybe we'll start actually seeing other aspects of momentum. Obviously, there's a salary cap. They just can't go keep paying people more. But other aspects of the fan experience, which we'll get into later on the episode, on what that looks like, what that means. Are they going to invest more? Because potentially, if they sell these out, that's just an insane level of commitment from the community that gives them revenue to actually invest more and go make more enhancements to the entire fan experience. So.
Yeah. I mean, that's why sport teams avoid Utah, essentially, because we are a smaller market. Because, yes, in order to keep a franchise running, you have to have ticket sales, you have to have merch sales, you have to have all these additional aspects. And so it all plays a part.
Yeah.
So Utah, here's the point we need to make, and then we're going to jump. This actually leads us into Chirping with Champ. But the point is, if we want this hockey team to stick around, we do have to support them. Even in its infancy, when there may be obstructed views at the Delta Center and it may not be ideal, they're going to fix it.
We'll get to that.
They're going to fix it, okay? So hold on to your shorts. It'll be fine. Okay, so let's dive into Chirping with Champ, yeah?
Let's do it.
Okay, here we go.
Chirping with Champ.
So the first chirp actually comes from the Arizona mayor. I don't know exactly which mayor said it. I just know that Arizona mayor said that coyotes are better off in Salt Lake. Here's the direct quote. You ready? I don't believe that the Valley population has a real interest in ice hockey. Now, so many Coyotes fans would disagree.
Yep.
Right? But the Arizona mayor said that. Real interest in ice hockey. Maybe never will. All the knocks that they didn't draw people to the games because it was so far away is a bunch of baloney. They didn't draw people when they were downtown Phoenix. So Arizona mayor coming in hot saying they're better off in Salt Lake. There shouldn't be a team in Arizona. Don't give me that crap that people didn't come to hockey because it was too far away.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, this Arizona mayor is chirping at all the people that said, oh, you didn't do enough, when really they're saying, actually, ice hockey just doesn't really feel like it should be in Arizona. That's pretty chirpy.
Yeah.
Coming from a mayor, an elected official, right? Now, in our realm, in Utah, it's very different, at least from a government official standpoint. You have governors and mayors all supporting this move of a Utah hockey team, the move of an MLB team coming. They want this.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when we talk about it in a little bit, it's so important that the city takes part in the effort to make the experience of entertainment in the city of Salt Lake City better.
Yeah.
Right? Because it is a city opportunity, not just a sport opportunity for one billionaire owner, right?
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that later, but that's the first chirp. All right, next chirp. You ready? Picture the Mighty Ducks before they get their Mighty Ducks jersey in the movie Mighty Ducks. Remember what it looks like, a ragtag? They're all wearing different jerseys with like different numbers. And it was posted by Ryan Ford, said this: using the name Utah Hockey Club is like calling the Mighty Ducks District 5. I'll be honest, though. I kind of get that feeling, right?
Yeah.
And this whole idea, like, so many people are frustrated that it's the Utah Hockey Club because they keep saying it's not a soccer club.
Yeah.
Yes, Ryan Smith owns both the male and female teams in the professional soccer league, but they needed something. It couldn't just be Utah, could it? Could it? Like, here comes Utah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? It has to have something. So at least for now, Utah Hockey Club, your District 5 team, is eventually going to get an identity. So anyway, I thought that was funny, kind of putting the picture. When our team comes out on the ice for the first time, the first thing I'm going to think of is Mighty Ducks District 5. Unfortunately, thanks to Ryan Ford.
No Mighty Ducks brand yet.
Yeah, right?
But the Mighty Ducks became who they were before the brand came.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So anyway, I thought that was a funny one. Okay, so we just talked about it. The people in Utah get first dibs on the tickets.
Yeah.
So someone posted
as they should.
Someone posted in the group, "Hello all. So as a non-Utah zip code fan, should I just get my refund now?" 3 question marks. Boy, she's really questioning it. Andrea. Now, Mike Bayer comes in hot and says, "No. with the pricing, obstructed view, and no future arena, you should be good. Fans are dropping out quick.
What? Super salty, Mike.
Well, Andrea, she chirps back and says, well, I love your optimism. Thanks. But anyway, Mike, obviously you're hearing things, you're seeing things. You might be a little frustrated with the current situation of the Delta Center, but you know, they're going to figure it out. They're going to fix it. So we shouldn't get all uptight about it. It's going to take time. You can't tear it down and fix it same day. It will take time.
China could.
Well,
Never
I mean,
mind.
I don't know
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Hello. So
That's when you get China quality products.
yeah, that's right. So another movie type of scenario, Annie OD, Sweet Annie OD is what the handle is. There's a picture from Ice Age of a mammoth and a saber-toothed tiger. Mm-hmm. The names of those people in that movie are Manny, the mammoth, and Diego, right?
Yeah.
So she says, with a picture of that, can't wait for the Central Division rivalry of the Utah Mammoth versus the Nashville Predators, right? So, unfortunately, Annie just kind of ruined the Mammoth vibe for me for a second going to Ice Age, but I'm still going to vote
I
Mammoth.
love Ice Age, and I love Diego's and Manny's relationship.
Right, but we're not going to have that relationship with the Nashville Predators.
But here, I mean, yeah, we're going to be in the same division, but like we can hate Colorado.
100%.
But I don't know. That's funny.
Anyway, I thought that was funny.
Real quick, sorry, jump back to that.
Yeah.
There are people out there who's saying, who's our greatest rivalry? It cannot be Vegas
Why?
because they are not in the same.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense.
Not
I mean,
that
they
it-
still could be.
Not that it can't be, but it usually falls within
The division.
the division.
100%.
And Vegas is in Pacific. So we naturally should choose our closest, same division. That's who we're going to fight against to get to the number one seat in the division. It's going to be Colorado.
Did the Arizona Coyotes ever have a rival? I think most people would say no because they weren't competitive against those teams.
So when Arizona comes back, they'll be in the Central Division. Does Arizona become our rival?
I mean, come on. We took their team.
And then anyways.
It would make sense.
Sorry, moving on.
All right, couple more here. So on one of our episodes, and you might have noticed that I've tried to hold back a little bit in this episode, and it's because someone chirped at me specifically, first of all, calling me a chump.
I was like, where are we going with this? Yeah.
Then they, after the fact, said, oh, sorry, champ. Talk to text, screwed it up. But they said this, a bit of constructive criticism. This is Beej Hen 2537 posted this on our YouTube channel. A bit of constructive criticism. First of all, it's constructive feedback, you noob. And if you're going to be if you're criticizing me, just state you're criticizing me. It's not constructive if it's criticism, you noob. Second of all, don't call me a chump. I know you say it was an accident, but hey, don't call me a chump.
Gotta be nice to our commenters.
Not this guy. And then he did say, you need to try and let Denz finish his own stories and sentences. It's really distracting. So this episode, I've tried to not cut you off and let you finish your sentences. Go ahead. See, he can't even finish his own sentences.
I don't see where that's.
I don't either.
I don't know if we do that. I feel like we feed off of each other.
Sure.
I mean, have you ever watched Sports Center?
Yeah, have you? Beej Hen?
Well, I wasn't trying to diss you. I'm just saying in general. Chump here is bitter.
Dude, now it's going to be a thing. Everyone's going to call me chump instead of champ. I'm cutting this out. No.
Chirping with chump.
Chirping with chump. Oh, I'm going to change it.
I mean, I just feel like we have good energy. appreciate the
Yeah, you're right.
constructive feedback.
It's feedback. If you would have said feedback, it wouldn't have even been a chirp.
Here's some criticism, chump.
Yeah, exactly. How much worse does that sound? Here's some criticism, chump. Right?
I feel like we have a good balance of talking back and forth. But hey, if a bunch of people started saying that,
then yeah.
I am super open to feedback and I want to address it. But yeah, maybe he's just siloed to one person thinking that.
Maybe so. And I do appreciate all the comments. And I did this episode. I've really tried to let Den speak without me cutting him off, because you're right, it's a little rude. Anyways, okay. There was a post. We kind of had one like this last episode as well. But Andre Weist, Andres Waste, I don't know how you say your names, sir or madam, but they pointed out naming conventions again. They said this. I get it. A lot of folks are scratching their heads about the new NHL team, Utah Yeti. He's already calling it Yeti. But let's be real. When did sports teams ever make sense? He goes on to list literally MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL. I want to just read a couple of these. Okay? Baltimore Orioles, a bird that's more famous for its nest building than its home runs. Chicago White Sox, same deal. It's a sock. Okay? Minnesota Twins, two of everything, right? San Francisco Giants, big people in San Fran. Then going to the NFL. Arizona Cardinals, more birds. Buffalo Bills, like the Old West guy. Detroit Lions, big cats in a city, right? Going to the NBA. You got Boston Celtics, Irish, right? And then when you get to the NHL, he said Anaheim Ducks, Disney's team. Arizona Coyotes, a desert dog. Boston Bruins, Bears. Buffalo Sabres, swords, right? The point that they're trying to make is it doesn't have to make sense. It's just a name.
It's just a name.
Just a name.
And this is where I keep coming to the conclusion, whatever comes, the identity of that will become fan experiences, what the community does to it. And the name is just going to be there, and you're going to have a loyal fan base. You're going to have the diehards that you could be called the Powerpuff Girls.
Well,
that one actually wouldn't work.
That one really wouldn't work.
But anyways, it will become an identity based off of what comes as time goes on. So,
couple more, and then we're gonna get into dishing with Denz,
which is a little chirpy today.
It's a little chirpy, so it's gonna feed right off of these chirps. High Desert Jungle said this. Everybody's already complaining about the new NHL team in the Delta Center. They're going to make the changes to improve everything. You guys are complaining about it too much. Jeez. So everyone, just relax, all right? They're going to fix it. So anyway, High Desert Jungle, I'm with you. Finally, Refluent Rose 889. First of all, where do you get your names, folks? Like, some of your handles are just off the wall. But the final chirp we're going to end with, because it leads into dishing with Denz. Refluent Rose 889 said this. They still shouldn't be using $1 billion of taxpayer money. That could go towards repairing roads and building more useful buildings. You're telling me, Refluent Rose, that you want more construction than Utah already has on our roads? That's what you want? That's what you want taxpayers' dollars to do? I'm not into that. It took them 20 years to do the highway or the interstate.
Have you ever seen that Utah meme of the highways that it's like the little thin cones?
Yes.
It says planted in spring, by summer they're full bloom, and it's like the big fat cones, construction cones on the road.
Oh man, that is Utah's MO.
Oh
just
my gosh.
Construction on roads. So I get what you're saying, Refluent Rose, but I'm not totally down to just fix roads with $1 billion, which actually let's jump into dishing with Denz, because we're going to talk about what that $1 billion truly needs to go to.
Let's do it.
Dishing with Denz.
So in today's episode for this segment, I want to actually go back to some off the ice drama. of what's being dished around. So first off, kind of keeping along with chumps chirping.
Don't you even. How dare you?
So the Salt Lake Tribune wrote an opinion piece.
Wait, the Salt Lake Tribune wrote an opinion piece?
Oh,
well, that's
geez.
odd.
That's odd. Yeah. Anyways, this is the headline. If Ryan Smith can't afford his own entertainment district, I have no choice but to assume he is poor.
Oh, and then the sub-headline.
Ryan, let's talk poor person to poor person.
Oh, yeah, okay. Let's dive into this one.
So here's the thing. A sports franchise is a business. Okay?
100%.
And in a country where business economics and capitalism and everything is what fuels our economic growth and stability, it is a business. So when you look at it from a business standpoint, I kind of, my wife, her and I were having this discussion, and she's just like, well, I don't think taxpayers should fund private things as well. I'm not here to debate some of these things, but I want to kind of point out that it isn't a full private venture. Like, this entertainment district, Ryan Smith doesn't own everything in this landscape and everything that he wants to do with it, and he's going to be the sole profiteer from all of these things. Like, this is a massive investment in government-owned facilities as well, and government benefit by having an entertainment district. This is why cities invest, even if they didn't have billionaires. Here's the thing. Cities do this all the time to invest in entertainment districts to bring entertainment and population in. Forget the sports side and billionaires or whoever is coming in to do that. They do that because it's good for a city to have entertainment, to have a nightlife, to have things that draw in a population for people to spend money. So, Ryan Smith is kind of the white knight in this scenario.
White knight of sports.
Where, now, I'm not saying that a city would own, I mean, I think it has happened, actually. A city can own a franchise, and we won't get into that. But my point being is, Ryan Smith is actually footing a big portion of the bill. Yes, to his own benefit. But he's coming in to also help aid the city. Which is why when Ryan first said, well, maybe we'll go to the suburbs, I'm going to go build this elsewhere, Salt Lake officials like, whoa.
Come back.
Don't take the Utah Jazz away from downtown. That just won't work. You can't do that. Why? Is because city officials all recognize the value that sports entertainment and the population brings to a city.
Yeah.
So, if you don't like Salt Lake City being a metropolitan hub of entertainment and where people come to visit and come to pay money and to spend, then you probably just don't like metropolitan areas and you should move to a suburb.
Right.
Because that's what Salt Lake City is. It is the capital of the state. And let me tell you, it will get worse to this point of view with the Olympics coming back to Utah.
Oh, 100%.
So all I'm saying is that, yes, taxpayer money is going towards the entertainment district, but you also have a private party that is investing the majority of funds that it will take to make this happen. We said this a few episodes back, actually. The Mr. Mon.
Oh, yeah. The representative during the city.
Yeah, during the city council meeting.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, guys. When you look at just the Delta Center, it's not the fact that Ryan Smith is poor and he can't afford. They could pay for their own renovations of the Delta Center. And if you kind of split everything out, they probably technically are, right? In the sense that they don't want to just invest in the Delta Center alone, because Salt Lake City downtown has a problem. It has a problem with connectivity. You have shopping centers. You have everything that's very siloed in experience. We've talked about this on previous episodes. And so you have someone, and I get it, not everyone's going to agree with this take, but you have someone who's a billionaire, who has billions to spend and willingness to spend and invest in Utah to make things happen. He owns the Delta Center. They're going to pay for renovations. They're also going to pay for the entire entertainment district, not the entire, but they're asking for help, not because he is poor. It's because it is also Salt Lake City's responsibility to invest in their own city.
Would you say that there are roads and buildings that will receive revamping?
You know what? It will.
Oh my gosh, Refluent Rose. Guess what? You get your wish.
And interestingly
roads
enough,
and buildings.
Part of the entertainment district is building out this connectivity. Fixing the Salt Palace. Ryan Smith don't own the Salt Palace. That's a government entity. Utah or Salt Lake County facility.
Where events are held that are put on through the city, the tourism arm of the city.
And Salt Lake County gets that revenue from events. It's a county-owned. So you have investments. It's not just the Delta Center, a Bravenel Hall, right? All of these infrastructures and things that exist in the downtown area is partially owned and operated and Salt Lake City's / county's responsibility. If you've ever been to the Salt Palace, it is really old. And it's a behemoth of a giant that, honestly, a lot of the time never gets filled to capacity. It is a massive convention center. Optimizing that space, making... What did it say? What did she say? For more valuable buildings for downtown.
Oh, yeah. Still shouldn't be using $1 billion of taxpayers' money. That could go towards repairing roads and building more useful buildings.
Yeah. So part of that is, hey, let's scale back the Salt Palace, make it more effective for conventions that make more sense. Like, all of these things are...
Have you ever tried to park to go to the Salt Palace? It's a joke. You have to park at a mall.
That or the... very small structure underneath it. So all I'm saying is there's a lot of responsibility here. Everyone's looking at just like, oh, the billionaire doesn't want to spend all of his money and is forcing taxpayers to buy his arena or to make his entertainment district. It is not his entertainment district. It is Salt Lake City's entertainment district. And so naturally, now whatever the price tag is, the debate is, sales tax increase, whatever it is, all I'm saying is it is not Ryan Smith's responsibility to fix this alone. I believe government has a responsibility when they are a piece to the problem. That's all I'm saying. Chirp back at us. I know not everyone agrees with me. Like online, there's a lot of people upset. But that is the business logic. The government entity has a business aspect to it of negotiating and making a deal with another business entity. It is a negotiation. There's pros and cons to every scenario, but they're trying to make something work together. So with that, a lot of people are just blurting out online like, oh, this is going to be another failed arena issue. Here's the thing. Ryan Smith, the Smith Entertainment Group, already owns the arena. Like, we don't have arena issues. He owns the arena. The investments are already going to be made in renovations.
You can't do it in a day. I already said that. You can't do it.
So interestingly enough, and here's the thing, and they've already seen internally, they haven't released anything to the public yet, but internally plans getting it to a 17,000 seat capacity. Guys, the Seattle Kraken, same scenario.
Yeah, listen to that.
Yep, they went to Climate Pledge Arena. Go look up the history of Climate Pledge Arena. Same problem. Obstructed views. They had to do some renovations. They
Black
fixed
sheets covering the bad seats.
Right? We've been there in the Delta Center, and that's not even just for hockey. The thing is that the renovations are already going to be going underway. They are going to fix and expand the footprint over the next couple of seasons to 17,000 seat capacity. Now you look at the Kraken and where they're playing. It's an awesome arena, Climate Pledge Arena. All I'm saying is it's going to take time to happen. People need to realize that a lot of the work of what's going to happen, it is insane what has already been set in motion for something that happened so quickly.
So fast.
And seemingly overnight of a decision. So that's kind of all we're getting at is we're trying to educate in a way that there's a lot of moving parts to this. And at the end of the day, entertainment and bringing nightlife to downtown Salt Lake City, more events, people talk about wanting bars, whatever it is, all of those things bring public in to spend more money, to experience more things for the benefit and even the unmeasurable benefit and the actual ripple effect of those decisions to Salt Lake City. It is a sales tax increase, which means it's not, everyone's like, oh, it's, Salt Lake City residents. Yes, those who live there and they spend there, they're going to pay that money. But everyone else who's coming in to spend money in Salt Lake will pay that. And so that's kind of just all I'm pointing out is it's not one person's responsibility here. It is a combined effort for a reason. It's being negotiated together for a reason. Listen, I don't like paying more taxes either. But when it's a business transaction where there's pros and cons, I mean, you could have Salt Lake City be... Here's an alternative story. This might be extreme, but here's an alternative story. When you have the team leave and you don't have entertainment in downtown Salt Lake City, and then you don't have funds to invest more in downtown because the population's not coming to visit it, does it turn into Gotham City?
Maybe.
That was a little extreme, Batman. But you know what I mean? When you stop investing in something, it dies out. I mean, you see that with even small examples of malls and businesses leaving. If businesses leave because the government doesn't invest and take opportunities to revitalize downtown, continually reinvest in parks and entertainment and facilities, the Utah Symphony, the Salt Palace, to make those things desirable places to do business with, it will die.
Yeah.
Might take 25 years. But this is why I think it was a good balance of, yep, the public, we're asking you to increase taxes a little bit over the course of 30 years with the average spending, but you also have a billionaire who's willing to invest as well. And I sit on the side that you have someone, obviously, yes, to his financial benefit. It is his own investment, but it's still an investment on his part. Billions of dollars of investment to make this happen for the benefit also of himself, but also of Salt Lake City. And I think it's a good thing.
And if you do the math, let's say you spend $100 in downtown Salt Lake, you'll pay 50 cents.
In increase or total in tax.
In the sales tax.
Right.
It's only 50 cents added to your bill. Yeah. Not crazy.
Yeah.
Not crazy. Sure, you may not want to spend that, but it's not nuts. If you're spending a lot of money.
I guess when you break it down that small, yeah. But in a year's time, sure, I can see it being a couple $100 for a resident that they're constantly spending in the Salt Lake City zone.
Yeah, sure.
So, I get both sides of it. But hopefully this was insightful to explain more so the business side of it and why, at least from our point of view, why the business transaction between government and private entity actually makes somewhat sense here and seems like a reasonable agreement. Now, I admit there's still a lot of things that haven't been defined. Those opinions can change. Things can fall apart. But as it stands right now, it makes sense why it's happening this way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the last thing we got to do for this extended episode, it has been longer, I think, than any time before.
Yeah.
Because next week...
We had a lot of chumps to go through.
Well, geez, hey. Next week, we actually will not be recording. I'll be out for a family reunion. Denz, you're out of town or something?
Yep, I'm doing a youth thing with
a
local group.
So we will be out of town, so you will not hear from us for a couple weeks. Don't worry, we're not dead. We're just doing other things. But we need to finish the episode with, of course, the puck of the week. And the puck of the week is going to go to, drum roll, please, Stephen Lowry, 5464. He says this: another great show. I appreciate your efforts and I support what you are trying to accomplish. The NHL in Utah is something new and exciting, and the more you educate the public, the better the reception for the team will be. Keep up the good work. Stephen, thank you. The puck of the week goes to you for your kind comments and your support in our show. Make sure you do follow us, like us, subscribe. We still got that ticket giveaway going on. We're going to draw in July for a preseason game for 2 preseason tickets. So make sure you subscribe and follow us on social, and that's how you enter to win. But, Denz, is that it? Any final thoughts here?
That is it. Comment, subscribe, like, and we do have some things that are going to be coming down the pipe. We talked about it last episode. We will have some guests coming on in the near future.
Yes. Before
we end for the summer-ish month off-season, we will also be taking an off-season we are in the off-season of hockey, but as our off-season. But as players start coming back in August, September, preseason starts ramping up. We'll start the episodes up around that time as well. But until then, keep liking, keep commenting. Let us know what you want us to be talking about more. If you have questions, one thing I will say, as it's come up in some things, is compared to some other podcasts, we don't dive into a lot of just general NHL related stuff as well. A lot of other players. We like to keep things Utah related. That's why it's the UTalk Hockey podcast. So there's other great content out there. We've received suggestions of like, hey, you guys should talk about X, Y, and Z. We keep it Utah focused because we want our community in Utah, if they don't have a bunch of time to sit down and listen and understand what's going on in just the hockey world in general, that we keep things very specific to Utah, to our NHL team here in Utah, to get the rundown of, at least as a local fan, what they should be hearing, what should they be listening to. And so that's why we keep our content condensed to just that market. I know that was a comment online, just approaching everyone here. So thank you all for listening, and until next time.
See you later.